Good Friday morning, everyone, and welcome to F&M Bank's fifth and final session of America Saves Week entitled Saving at Any Age. My name is Tobias Guy of the F&M marketing team, and we have plenty of information packed into the next hour covering how to save at any age. Now, before we begin, if you have any questions, please click on the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen, enter your query, and your question will be answered at the end of the session. Your presenter today is Cheryl Ryman, who is F&M Bank's Community Reinvestment Officer. Cheryl grew up locally right here in Long Beach, attended Long Beach Poly High School and Long Beach City College. She has worked at F&M Bank for over 35 years. When she's not at F&M Bank, Cheryl enjoys traveling. In particular, she has visited 23 of our national parks, and her goal is to visit the remaining 40 U.S. national parks. And enough about travel talk, let's get to savings. And Cheryl, I hand it over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Toby. I appreciate that. And welcome, everyone. We're glad to have you with us today. Welcome today. And here we go. We're talking about saving this week. April is Financial Capacity Month and financial awareness, financial education. And this week is designated as America Saves Week. So each day this week, we've been talking about saving, different aspects of saving. So we're happy to have you with us today. As I mentioned, during America Saves Weeks, individuals and families make a commitment to themselves to save successfully. And this is just a commitment to you, by you, for you. America Saves is a nonprofit program of the Consumer Federation of America, who has a mission to increase the financial confidence and stability of all Americans, but most especially the most vulnerable, such as the low income. So recognizing unique experiences and challenges, America Saves and F&M Bank's commitment goes beyond financial literacy and education. And we want to focus on sharing deeply resonating content, resources, tools, and strategies that help move you to action. And these actions include changing your mind, your mindset, identifying savings goals, establishing savings for various opportunities, and reducing debt and making changes to spending and saving. So let's get on with it. Why we're talking about America Saves Week, I think it's really important to note that we want to help navigate you through different areas of your finances to better position you for success. During America Saves Week in 2019, thousands of Americans committed to save $145 million through the American Saves Pledge. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the American Saves Pledge at the end. But we hope that this week has, as we went through sharing tools and resources, that it inspires individuals and families to save successfully and achieve better financial stability. So let's get to it. Today, we are talking about saving at any age. We all go through different cycles in our life with different priorities, different income levels, and we're going to talk a little bit about each of those and saving along the way. On the next slide. So we've talked about this a couple of times over this past week. Do you view saving as an ongoing journey, or do you consider it someplace that you arrive? Like when you save $5,000, you're done. Well, we are in the same camp as with American Saves, that saving is a habit, not a destination. We've said it several times. Saving is a habit, and it can be formed at any age. And the sooner you begin, the better. And whether you're trying to instill this habit in children or you want to change your own saving behaviors, these are strategies that savers of all ages can develop. On the next slide, talking about finances. Money is a very sensitive subject, and talking about it, even with those closest to you, can almost seem taboo at times. However, it's really important to discuss money management and financial goals as a family, and recognizing the need for that and sharing that information early is critical. These conversations about money aren't just limited to your spouse and children. It's important to discuss the finances with your parents and other important loved ones, we realize speaking with your parents and other loved ones may be especially awkward, but it is necessary. And I will share that in my experience with the bank over, over decades, we've seen some real challenging situations with families because of failure to communicate regarding finances. And it's tragic, it's heartbreaking, it's frustrating. So to be able to have those conversations in advance, be informed, be familiar, be prepared. On the next slide then, when we talk about saving at any age, spending and saving habits naturally change over the course of our lifetime, right? When we are in our teens, in our 20s, in our 40s, in our 60s, things change. The life cycle hypothesis, let's get into economics now, but it's an economic theory that describes the spending and saving habits of people over the course of a lifetime. Cycle hypothesis assumes that individuals plan on spending over our lifetimes, taking into account our future income. Generally, then, we take on debt when we're young, assuming that future income will enable us to pay it off. We then are more of a saver during middle age in order to maintain our standard of living when we retire. How we approach money evolves from childhood to retirement, and it depends on our circumstances at every age. On the next slide, while it certainly depends on your situation, the experts absolutely have general guidelines, and while you may have different resources for information, whether you follow Dave Ramsey or Susie Orman or somebody else, there are some general guidelines. And this was interesting. This was according to Bankrate, which is a website, and they're generally, I kind of like them. I follow them. Have some ideas and examples. One of the articles referenced Fidelity. Fidelity is an investment firm, and they recommend that by the time you're 30, you should have saved at least the amount of your salary. So if you earn $50,000 a year, by the time you're 30, they recommend having $50,000 saved. That's a bit ambitious. 3 times your salary by the time you're 40, 6 times by the time you're 50, and 8 times your salary by the time you're 60. That when I was younger, that would have seemed overwhelming. But remember, baby steps, little by little, every little bit helps. And it's never too soon or too late to start saving. On the next slide. Start early. The sooner you start, the better, clearly. So research shows habits around money like budgeting, borrowing, and saving start as early as 7 years old. Now, we think, when we're thinking about 7 years old, that our children aren't as aware of things as I think they are much more aware. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, people typically begin to build money habits, norms, values during middle childhood through a process called financial socialization. And these habits and norms continue to develop through adolescence and influence many financial barriers and habits in adulthood. Now, I love the CFPB. The CFPB it's in the name, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. There is quite a lot of information on their websites, and I've dropped a link in the chat box for you that has some guidance and tools to help educate youth and children about finances. No worry if your kids are already older. It's never too late to start. The CFPB has a full range of products and resources available. for all different ages. I just dropped another website in the chat box. It doesn't have to be a planned out speech or a formal discussion. You can start with a simple age appropriate chat. The CFPB on the second website, Money as You Grow, they have resources available, games, pamphlets, kind of some guidance, some coloring things to help kids learn about money from young children, school-age children, preteens, and teens to even young adults. So there's a lot of information out there, and children can learn to set a savings goal and figure out how long it will take to save them enough money for their goal. So say, for example, they want that, $80 Lego kit. I don't know about you, I have 4 grandchildren and they all love Legos, but who knew Legos could be so expensive? Well, if they want the $80 Lego and it's not birthday or Christmas or, some other event, then they're going to have to buy it themselves. So they have to learn how to save for that goal. Well, you can do that too. You can create a fun system to help them save, track their progress. You would provide regular encouragement and maybe use incentives, such as for every $10 they save, you'll drop in $1 funds. You may be surprised at what they already know and the questions that they may have regarding money. You can empower them to make decisions about their money, involve them as they get older, involve them in household discussions. No, we can't do that because we're going to do that, or allow them some power and some options in those decisions. But empowering children from a young age to make choices about money, particularly money that they receive as gifts, is a great way to build confidence. And don't forget to lead by example. Show the children how you are saving. Talking to kids, talking to children. Kids absolutely, if you haven't noticed this already, kids pay attention to what you say and do. Probably more of what you do than what you say, even if you don't think so, including how you talk about and manage money, making it even more important to have those conversations with them. Discussing finances with the children is a must to instill good money management skills and a strong financial background. Next slide. Early childhood and school-age children. Young people you can help set up a joint savings goal, such as a night out at a favorite restaurant or an outing of some sort or a vacation. Involve them in that thought process and the budgeting considerations that are involved. Now, an allowance can certainly give hands-on experience in saving, spending, and managing money. Between the ages of 6 and 12, you can help children absorb rules to live by and day-to-day habits that shape how they earn, save, and shop. Encourage short-term achievable goals so that they can experience a win. Now, this is talking about kids, but I encourage that even for ourselves. We should have short-term achievable goals for savings so that we can experience wins, maybe getting to that next $100 mark in our savings account or the next $1,000 mark, whatever it might be. Incentives, we mentioned just a moment ago, incentives can be used to promote the savings habit. Consider a matching plan for your child's savings. You put in 25 cents for every dollar they save. And we encourage you to open a savings account for them and let them be part of that process. There are many options for no-cost savings accounts for children and youth. F&M, we are proud to offer a youth savings account with a $5 opening deposit and no monthly service charges, getting them on that path for savings. On the next slide. Now we're getting a little older. We're young adults now. Teens and young adults generally start to earn money at this time and make decisions on their own. For young adults, as they begin to earn a regular and potentially higher income, a strong foundation is critical, and it begins with basic understanding of the difference between wants and needs. So I think every time I do when I talk about credit, we do a credit workshop also. And I have 3 grown daughters, and this is kind of the story that really, I think, drives home for me the difference between want and needs with my children when they were particularly teenagers. Yes, new school year, new clothes. Okay, got it. Yes, they need new shoes. But do they need $200 shoes? Because multiply $200 shoes by 3 kids, and that's now $600. So that was a no. But there may be some people who feel like they absolutely do need the $200 shoes. Well, I can't dictate, nobody else can dictate what your needs are or what your wants are. Only you can make that determination. Okay, so keep that in mind, wants and needs. Once your teen has a steady job, help them to set up a savings program so that at least 10%. And while they are younger and more of that money is disposable income, I would encourage even saving more. While, the general consensus is at least 10% of your earnings go directly into a savings account, I would encourage more, particularly at that age, and to save automatically if possible. Of a payroll, have that go direct deposit, but split that direct deposit, part of that, into the savings account. Okay. And have the conversations with them, how much they can save, what will they gain, what will they have to give up, and is it worth it? And I think those are conversations we all need to have, not just with our teens and young adults, but even with ourselves sometimes. How much can we save, and what will that get us in the long run? What do we have to give up, and is it worth it? Absolutely. Okay. On the next slide. As a young adult, now is the time to begin imagining the life as that young adult would like to have and start planning to make those dreams happen. What are your goals? How much money will you need to achieve them? Research and find the best savings account for your needs. Shop around for bank accounts. We'd love to have everybody bank with us. We realize, that's not going to happen, but we certainly invite you to consider us. Shop around considering convenience, benefits, rate of interest, and costs. Are there any fees? And then save automatically. Throughout this entire week, we have repeatedly said that saving automatically is our favorite way to save, and it is the most successful. So whether it occurs through direct deposit, through splitting off part of that direct deposit to a savings account directly, or whether you do that by automatic transfer with your bank accounts. But it's important to begin to save for unexpected expenses. So start on that emergency savings fund as soon as possible. And particularly for young adults, learning to use credit wisely. You will absolutely benefit from building good credit. A payment history, good or bad, has a lifespan of 7 years on a credit report. Now, we'll get a lot more into that. We're going to not talk a lot about credit today, but join us June 7th for a full hour on credit reports and credit scores. Also, it's not too early to open a retirement savings account for a young adult who begins working. They have a steady income for them to start savings for retirement. Again, shop around, ask lots of questions, as there are lots of options. I think that, as we get down into further in this presentation, talking about older adults, I think that even in my own research and preparing for this today, nobody would tell you to wait. There is no financial advisor that would say, oh, you know what, you're only 23. You don't need to worry about retirement. Don't bother saving now. Absolutely the opposite is true. Even at 23, 22, 20, 19, if you have a steady income, absolutely now is the time to start saving for retirement. And then use those appropriate financial resources to help you plan and build your financial confidence. There is a lot of information easily available, and not all of it is good. Make sure that the information is coming from a qualified source. Like I mentioned here in the chat box, I've dropped a couple of links to the CFPB's website. That's a good source of information. Another source of great information is the Federal Trade Commission, ftc.gov. They've got a really wide range of information on their website for the consumer protection perspective. And I think that would, I love the FTC. I use them a lot as a resource for training materials and absolutely recommend it. On the next slide then, as we continue through young adulthood, thinking of your future self. What will you want? What will you be doing? What will you believe? Is one way to develop a saving mindset. Ask questions about your future self. It helps to create a vision and plan. So, for example, take into consideration where do you plan to live, right? Location, 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 location. My daughter's a real estate agent, and she coaches her clients to, just keep in mind location, 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 and whether you want to rent or buy, because that certainly may alter your savings plans. And then what does a typical day look like in your future? Having a 9-to-5 office job, a social media influencer, a professional sports person, an entrepreneur. What does the typical day look like? When you're young, that's the time to really start planning that. Now, what hobbies do you have? And how much money? How expensive are they? A number of, the pleasure sports. I understand golf can be a little expensive, snowboarding or skiing, whatever it might be. What kind of hobbies do you anticipate? And then how much money does your future self earn? There are a lot of things to consider. There are some really great resources available too on salary ranges for different types of jobs and the life expectancy cycle of those types of jobs. So there are a number of jobs maybe that were available 50 years ago that those types of jobs no longer exist. So as we age through technology, through just different types of skill sets, some jobs will become obsolete and some jobs will become have a higher demand. So keep thinking about that too, particularly as a young adult. On the next slide, so it absolutely it can be difficult to stay motivated when you're setting aside money for something so far into the future, no matter how old we are, right? It's easy to focus on what we want or even need immediately in the moment. We don't want to wait to purchase that expensive pair of shoes. We want to take that trip in the next 3 months. I still have what, 40 national parks to see. I need to get going. I've got to travel. Retirement is so far off that it feels okay to spend more of your current income now and catch up later. But remember, I just said that in researching, there is no financial advisor that would encourage you to wait to save for retirement. The time to save for retirement is as soon as possible. So in each of these scenarios that we just discussed, we weren't thinking about our future selves, just who we are and what we want today. The most important retirement strategy is to start early. Start saving early. I mean, I'd love to retire early too, but start saving early. And then on the next slide, speaking of retirement accounts, there are many different options. Many. There are, well, thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate the comment. There are several different options for retirement. And even for me, working in a financial institution, it can be overwhelming. And understanding all of the nuances to the different types of accounts and options that are available regarding retirement savings can be overwhelming and nuanced. But generally speaking, and this is just generally speaking, the contributions that you make to a traditional 401k are not taxed when you initially invest the money. And you might also get a matching contribution from your employer. The money itself takes advantage of compounding interest. If you save 10% to 15% of each paycheck, including any match, you'll be on track. And then considering a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k, which could be a good alternative to the traditional 401k, but your contributions will be after tax money. So the traditional is that if you put $7,500 a year into a traditional retirement plan, the 401k or an IRA, that money is deducted from your taxable income this year. But with the Roth IRA, the money that you contribute to the Roth IRA is taxed at today's standards, but when you make your withdrawals in retirement, that would be, which may be an attractive benefit, particularly if you start that early and earn interest on that. Even that interest would be tax-free. And it's okay to start small. The important part is that you're thinking about your financial future. As you progress in your career and become more financially stable, you can increase your contributions. Now, middle age, here we go. Dun, 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 dun. When I was looking at these materials on the next slide here, when I was looking at these materials, they don't have an age range here. So this was a little awkward. I'm like, well, okay, well, what is middle-aged? What are they thinking of as this target audience? And I'm venturing to guess that we're looking at 30 to 50 years old. There's some crossover with the following slides, so don't get caught up in it. But I think during this age, and I think it's true during any age, commit to checking in regularly with your finances. Sit down and take a holistic view of your finances to get a clear picture of where you are, the progress that you've already made, and the progress that you still need to make. And consider your short-term goals like vacations and long-term goals like your children's education, and even more importantly, your own retirement. Reassess and reaffirm your future goals to determine whether you're on track. I remember we were saving, Fidelity said that by the time you're 30, you should have, your savings should equal 1 year's salary. So if you earn $50,000 a year, by the time you're 30, you should have saved $50,000. Okay, so kind of making sure, where you are on that track. And like I said, Fidelity's guidelines is a big goal. It's much more manageable if you can start early and have many years to reach it, but striving for any goal is better than not. And recognize that saving for multiple goals at the same time it absolutely will require adjustments to some of your plans. So while I was researching for this presentation, I came across the following tip a few times. So I thought it was worth sharing. And this was really, I think, for me, an eye-opener. This was one of my aha moments for this. And like I said, I came across it a couple of times. So from different perspectives, different sources. So take note of this. If you can't afford to save for retirement and save for your child's education, prioritize you. Prioritize your retirement. There are other options available to help your children pay for college, loans, scholarships, whatever else. However, there are no such programs to help you pay for retirement. And while it may seem like you're doing your child a favor by prioritizing their future, it actually increases the chances that they'll have to financially support you during your retirement years or prevent you from retiring altogether. That was powerful for me. I think as a as a parent, we want to be able to give our children everything. So to see this not just once but multiple times, I thought that was really powerful for me. So prioritize your retirement above saving for your child's education if you have to choose one or the other. Okay, aging adult. Oh, here we go. Here I am. Again, this is not defined, but I will venture to guess that we are looking at 50 and 60 years old. Although it seems to me the older we get, the older being old is defined. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, 50 is so old. Well, no, it's not. But aging adult, we're getting a little bit older. We're no longer a young adult. Well, you may be in a time of your life when you're starting to spend your savings, but setting goals and maintaining a clear view of your finances is still important as you navigate these years. If you didn't make saving for retirement a priority early in life, it's not too late to catch up. If you're 50 or older, you can make catch-up contributions to your IRAs and employer-sponsored retirement. Now, those limits change every year, so I didn't include them here. But if you're in a position now, you're not retired yet, you're still in the workforce, maybe you have, where we expect to be earning more when we're in this age range than maybe when we were in our 30s. And maybe your financial burdens are a little less. Your children are grown and independent, you're not supporting them anymore, hopefully. So you have a little more disposable income and you can add additional funds to your retirement plans. And remember, there's a flip side to that. There's two sides to that. One is it decreases your taxable income this year if you're doing traditional, or if you do go into a Roth, it decreases when you make those withdrawals, those are tax-free at the time of withdrawal. Now, if your workplace offers a 401k or a similar plan, and you aren't already funding yours to the max, this would be a great time to rev up those contributions. Not only are such plans an easy and automatic way to invest, but you'll be able to defer paying those taxes until you withdraw them, right, on the traditional. Because your 50s and 60s are likely to be your peak earning years, you're in a higher marginal tax bracket now than you might expect to be during retirement, meaning that even then you'll face a smaller tax bill when that time comes. So your savings are supposed to be used during this stage. Learning to spend without saving can be an adjustment, and feeling confident enough to enjoy your money while ensuring your resources last, that can ebb and flow. Are we ready to retire or not? Some days I feel more ready than other days, right? According to Investopedia, and kind of like Wikipedia, I think there's some give and take to that, but I think that the following comments are pretty solid. If you're still putting your retirement money into the same investments you chose back in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, and you're now in your 50s or 60s or even older, it's absolutely time to take a close look and decide whether you're still comfortable with those allocations. Conventional financial wisdom says that you should invest more conservatively as you get older, putting more money into maybe bonds and less into stocks. And the reasons behind that is stocks, if stocks take a tumble in a prolonged bear market and you're older, you won't have as many years for those prices to recover, and you may be forced to liquidate at a loss. Just how conservative you should become is a matter of personal preference and risk tolerance, but few financial advisors would recommend selling all of your stock and moving entirely into bonds or money markets, regardless of your age, because stocks still provide some potential growth that bonds don't. The point is that you should remain diversified, but in age-appropriate manner. So do an evaluation if you have investments. Take a look at them, because truly the risk that you're willing to take in your 20s, 30s, or 40s is not likely to be the same as it is now. Okay. Now, older. Here we go. We're closing in. Time is coming. Again, this age is not defined, but I would venture to guess that we're looking at older than 60 years old. Now, as you begin to close in on the end of your working years, it is time to definitely create a clear picture of what you want post-working years and what, if any, adjustments you might need to make to achieve those goals. Are you still working? Can you make the catch-up contributions to your retirement savings? And considering the tax advantages to both sides of that, do you want to be debt-free? It's interesting because some of the articles that I was reading while preparing for this was alluding to the fact that we would be mortgage-free. Well, I think our environment is a little different now than it may have been even 20 years ago, where somebody buys a home and they have one mortgage for those entire 30 years. I think we certainly are in a different environment today. I personally can attest to the fact that I have refinanced my mortgage more than once to take advantage of either taking cash out to make some adjustments to my home or refinancing for a lower rate of interest. So I don't expect that my home will be paid off by the time I retire. So I will not be debt-free, but in that sense, but I do not expect to have credit card debt. And God willing, that I not have medical debt or other types of debt. So I hope to be debt-free so that I don't have those additional expenses. But then also too, will you be downsizing? Well, when I retire, do I still need to have the 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, house? Or maybe I could downsize to a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom. All of those things are important to consider when you are thinking of your assets at the time you age, and as you age at the time that you retire. And use reliable strategies and past experiences to consider working confidently towards those goals. And over the past few days, we've talked about a number of strategies about saving. Saving automatically, saving for emergencies, saving for major milestones, and of course, paying down debt as a way of saving. There are a lot of different strategies as we work towards our saving goals. There is no one best thing to put money into for retirement or even for savings in general. Retirement savings and any kind of savings really varies on the person's personal financial profile, your family situation, yours and your family's wants and needs. But absolutely the most important strategy for retirement saving is to start saving early. Now we have partnered with America Saves, and it is scientifically proven that, not just financially, but when we set a goal, any kind of goal, we are biologically programming our brains to change or create new behaviors to reach those goals because the way our neurons organize is impacted. So creating focus on specific goals allows the brain to create new, stronger bonds that help increase the likelihood that we achieve those goals. America Saves helps to reach those savings and debt reduction goals. It is simply a pledge that you make on the America Saves platform. And while we encourage you to do that, certainly is not mandatory, whether you do it through the America Saves platform, whether you do it through some other type of app, or just put it on a piece of paper on your refrigerator, whatever it takes. Make a pledge, set a goal, identify what you are saving for, whether it's that first bump, the emergency fund, having something set aside in the event of emergency that you can access without having to go into debt. So your emergency fund, your vacation fund, you want to buy new furniture, you want to buy a new car, you need to get a new refrigerator, your roof needs repaired, whatever it might be, that large purchase. Absolutely retirement, and retirement really should be bumped up to the top of that list. Debt repayment, we talked about repaying debt yesterday as a way of saving, education, and of course, home ownership. Now, home ownership is not a be all end all either, because once you own a home, it doesn't stop there. Right? I mentioned just a moment ago the roof, whether you need a roof, there's plumbing, there's heating, when you're a homeowner, there generally seems to be something always on the horizon that takes money. So setting a goal to have some money saved for those plans, for those purposes, is really important. And then make a plan. Identify how much you will save each month for how long for you to reach that goal. So America Saves in the pledge, in this platform, they will identify you, give you the option to identify what it is you're saving for, how much let's say you want to save $5,000 and you want to save it over the course of 2 years. It will calculate for you how much you need to save each month. And you can make the adjustments then. Oh, I can't save that much each month. Let's push that out for 3 years. Or make the savings goal a little bit smaller so that it's realistic and that you can achieve that. So make a plan. It'll ask how much you want to save and for how long you want to give yourself to reach that goal. And then throughout the year, America Saves through the app or through the platform, you provide just your email address, your phone number, and a zip code. That's it. No street numbers, no street name on the address, no credit card information, no bank account information. America Saves is not looking to track your progress except for as you tell them along the way. They will send you texts and emails with tips and resources, motivation, reminders, and support to help you achieve your savings goal. And of course, you can opt out anytime to stop receiving any texts or emails as you wish. On the next slide here, I'm going to drop this link into the chat box, we encourage you to take the pledge, take the America Saves pledge. As I mentioned at the beginning, the America Saves campaign is a national campaign, although we have partnered with the Los Angeles chapter. In California, in Southern California, there are regional campaigns for the Inland Empire, Los Angeles, and San Diego. So we are partnering with Los Angeles. Sorry, there's no Orange County, but Orange County is welcome to join us in LA, in the LA campaign. So we invite you to join the LA Saves campaign, regardless of where you're located. And like I said, there's a link in the chat here. And as I mentioned, they only ask for enough information, your name, your email address, your phone number for text messaging, and your zip code, just so they can get a regional idea of where we're located. But it's interesting, it's encouraging, it's motivating, and it's just a reminder, a nice reminder. We talked about the science to setting a goal just a moment ago. Part of that too is not just your originally setting a goal and recognizing that you have that goal, but also if you share that goal with someone else who can help you along the way, help support you and encourage you, that you're even that much more likely to succeed in reaching that goal. And that's what America Saves is on a mission to do, to be your partner in helping you and encouraging you to save. So please, if you would, join the America Saves, the LA Saves campaign. That would be wonderful. And I think that is one more slide in the end of the presentation.
Yes, Cheryl, we are nearing our 50-minute mark here with this last session of America Saves Week. We have a couple questions that came across from our attendees, and I'll start with the first one here. Should we start saving for our kids now? We have a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old, and we have a 529. Should we make an additional savings account for them?
Oh, I think you're well on the way with the 529. If you already have the 529, and remember the comment earlier about prioritizing your retirement, but the 529s are great because, and we have those for my grandchildren also. So speaking from experience, for birthdays and Christmas, do they really need more toys? Do they really need, all of that extra stuff? As a matter of fact, I'm going for my grandson's birthday tonight. And so what we've done is, or what we do as a family is we donate to the 529. When we get small gifts for the kids, you don't go to a kid's birthday party without a present, but the majority of the budget for their birthdays and for their holiday gifts are deposits to their 529 accounts. And I think that you cannot start soon enough, similar to your own retirement plan, to the 529 for higher education costs. So you're well on your way. If you have the capacity to do other types of savings for them, great, but not at the expense of your own retirement savings. So if you're maxed out for your qualified retirement savings every year, then congratulations, good for you. But I think that when we're going to look at one or the other, prioritize your retirement.
Excellent. Another attendee asked, I have a lot of debt. Should I prioritize paying off debt first in place of savings?
Well, if there's one thing that I've seen throughout this week in looking and researching for the material for this is the importance of having an emergency savings account. So whether that's, even $500, having just at least a small savings account to help in the event of an emergency, and then capitalize on paying down debt. And I think yesterday was a really great session when we were talking about paying down debt and how to approach that. But paying down debt is absolutely important when we're talking about saving, because there is a cost to having debt by way of interest and service charges. So you definitely want to, and it's interesting too, I've had conversations, many conversations with family and friends who will be very proud of the amount that they have in its savings, but then they have a significant amount of credit card debt. Well, having a savings account earning, 2% versus having a credit card balance that's charging 19%. I'm sorry, you're paying more to keep the debt than you are earning on the savings account. Now, again, having that emergency savings account, great, absolutely necessary, very important. But don't storehouse your money and savings while you're still paying to have debt. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. We have one more question, just one moment. And that question is, now you've expertly answered a lot of questions through these last 5 sessions over this savings week. Now, this is probably going to be the most challenging question, and I've usually piggybacked on some of these questions throughout the week because I have 3 boys myself. And this, Cheryl, might be the hardest question for you to answer, and we'll leave on this one. How can I encourage my teenage kids to save? They spend their money as soon as they get it. If you can answer this one, you win for the week.
Oh, that is so hard. I mean, teenagers are just a challenge no matter what. But I think sometimes it takes incentivizing them. Okay, look, if you save $100, I will chip in 20. If you want this, teenagers, there's always something that they want or that they're planning on, or make them part of that. If they want, gosh, I can't even guess. Several of my friends and families are snowboarders and skiers. And if they want, the new boots, they want the new board, they want, whatever, great. They have to save for that. Make them part of that. I think one of the biggest disservices that we do for our children is trying to make it as easy for them as possible. But then when they have to fend for themselves, they're ill-equipped to do so. So teaching them how important saving is to achieving the goals that they want, and really trying to hone that in for the long-term perspective. I think that it's funny because I was listening to a song on my way to work this morning, and it said, I I wish I knew then what I know now. And I think that resonates for all of us. And for children, especially, and even as young adults, it's difficult to gauge what what the future holds and how important the actions of today impact our future. So I wish I had an easy answer for that, Toby. That's I Yeah, I heard that song and listened to it and really respected it when I was much younger. Um, but I think it's really difficult to impress upon young people how important saving is. Sometimes it's difficult to impress on adults. So good luck with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with that, that is our final question. Cheryl, thank you so much for lending your expertise all 5 days of our America Saves Week webinars. And attendees, we want to thank all of you for attending F&M Bank's America Saves Week sessions. Join us on June 7th for our credit reports and scores webinar and roadmap to home ownership webinar. And you can also check out our entire list of this year's webinars at fmb.com/webinars. And thank you so much. We wish from all of us at F&M Bank, all of you a wonderful Friday and weekend. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.